Hi, today we're diving into measurement system analysis, more precisely Gage R&R, a specific type of measurement system analysis. So what is Gage R&R, and specifically what exactly is Gage and what does R&R stand for? Let's say you work for a company producing shafts. Shafts are round metal rods with a certain diameter. Now a gauge can be as simple as a digital caliper for measuring a shaft's diameter. So a gauge is any device or setup used to measure a characteristic of a part or process. Okay, but what is the R&R? R&R stands for repeatability and reproducibility. But what do repeatability and reproducibility tell us? When we measure something in practice, we'll get values that fluctuate to some extent. Even if the same person measures the same part 10 times, there will likely be some variation. The repeatability and reproducibility now tell us how much variation comes from the tool itself and how much variation comes from different people using the tool. Let's start with the repeatability. Repeatability is the variation when the same person with the same gauge measures the same part multiple times. This is also called equipment variation. But be careful. Let's say these are 10 measurements taken by the same person on the same part with the same gauge. So one person is measuring the same part 10 times. In theory, all variation should come from the gauge. However, if for example the shaft isn't perfectly round and we measure at slightly different locations each time, then even though it's the same part, we get different measurements. So some of the observed variation will come from the part itself. So repeatability tells us how much variation we see when the same person measures the same part with the same gauge multiple times. And of course, we want our measurement system to be consistent when the same operator with the same gauge measures the same part repeatedly. But what about reproducibility? Reproducibility gives us the variation when different people or setups measure the same part with the same gauge. And of course, we want different operators measure the same part with the same gauge to obtain similar results. One thing to notice: in everyday language, gauge usually means just the instrument, so the digital caliper. But in the context of measurement system analysis, when we say gauge, we mean the entire measurement setup: the digital caliper, the method, the environment, and the people using it. For example, the method includes measurement steps like zeroing the caliper, cleaning the part, measuring in the middle, and recording the result. Now we know what a Gage R&R or a measurement system analysis is. And there are 3 open topics left. Why do we need it? How to calculate it? And how to interpret the results. So why do we need a measurement system analysis? Of course, your company needs to run profitably. That means your measurement system must reliably call good parts good and bad parts bad. So there are 2 costly mistakes to avoid. First, calling good parts bad, which means you scrap or rework perfectly fine parts, which is pure waste. And second, calling bad parts good. You ship defects to customers, risking returns, complaints, and in the worst case, failure in the field. A solid measurement system minimizes both mistakes, protects your margin, and protects your customer. Okay, that sounds great. But now we want to know how to calculate a measurement system analysis and how to interpret the results. In order to do this, we first need data. Let's say we have 2 operators, operator 1 and operator 2, and 3 parts, part 1, part 2 and part 3. So in total, each part is measured twice by each operator. For example, part 1 is measured twice by operator 1 and twice by operator 2. But be careful, in practice you will certainly use more than 3 parts, and later we will also use a larger dataset. And one important point, in a Gage R&R, you should choose parts that span the full range of measurements you expect in production. This is important in order to test whether the measurement system can clearly distinguish different parts across the whole process. Okay, but how do we calculate a Gage R&R and how do we interpret the results? Basically, there are 2 common ways to calculate a Gage R&R, with the range method and with an ANOVA. ANOVA is the preferred approach in modern software and guidance. So first I will briefly explain ANOVA to you, and after that we'll walk through the Gage R&R output. So what is an ANOVA? An ANOVA tests whether there are statistically significant differences between 3 or more groups. More precisely, it tests whether there is a significant difference between the mean values of the groups. For example, if one group contains all measurements from operator 1 and another group contains measurements from operator 2, we can test whether there is a significant difference between the measurements. Likewise, if groups are defined by different parts, we can test whether the measurements differ significantly across parts. Okay, now we know the basics about an ANOVA, and it's time to calculate a Gage R&R. Afterwards, we can have a detailed look at the results. So let's go to numico.com. If you like, you can load this dataset with the link in the video description, or you can copy your own data into this table. We just click on Measurement System Analysis, and here we can see the variable from the table above. Then we select Measurement, Part and Operator. And Numico directly gives us a Gage R&R. If you like, you can define a tolerance. Let's just say it's 1.5. The tolerance comes from engineering or functional requirements, not from the Gage R&R data. Here we can see the results. Now we will have a detailed look at the ANOVA table and the most important table, the Variance Components table. Let's start with the ANOVA table. With the help of this table, we can answer 3 main questions. Is the part-to-part variation significant? Is the operator variation significant? And what about the repeatability? If you like to have more information about that, we have detailed videos on ANOVA. But to keep it short for now, we are mainly interested in the p-value in the last column. If the p-value is less than 0.05, so 5%, that factor is considered significant. So let's have a look at parts. A p-value of less than 0.001 means the parts are significantly different from each other. That is what we want. The measurement system can detect real part differences. And what about the factor operator? With a p-value of 0.002, there is a significant difference between the measurements of the operators. This means operator 1 and operator 2 do not measure the same part the same way. So there is a reproducibility issue because the measurement depends on who measures the part. That should not happen in a good system. But beware, in ANOVA, even small differences can become statistically significant when the data are very consistent, low noise. That's why we'll later use the variance components to judge how big the effect is in practice. Of course, this is just an example, but an overall conclusion could be, the measurement system can detect differences between parts which is good, but operators do not measure consistently with each other, which is bad and needs correction. So recommended actions could be create a clear work instruction and train operators on the same measurement method. But be aware that more detailed conclusions will be gained with the table of the variance components. Okay, one last point about ANOVA before we move on. There may be an interaction between operator and part, in which case we would have another row in the ANOVA table. In this example, however, we get the following. There is no significant interaction between operator and part, and two-way analysis of variance without interaction is used. So because the interaction is not significant, it is not used in a model. Let's take a look at the next table with the variance components. Let's read this table from left to right. First, the variance column. This shows how much variation each source adds. In our case, total variation is about 0.06 and total Gage R&R is about 0.01, so the measurement system contributes a small slice of the overall variation. Next, percentage contribution. This tells us what share of the total variance comes from each source. About 85% comes from the parts themselves, which means the parts are truly different. That's a good sign. However, our total Gage R&R makes up the remaining 15%, which is quite a lot. Repeatability is the variation when the same operator measures the same part again and again, and it is about 9%. Reproducibility is the variation between different operators. It's about 6%. The standard deviation is just the square root of the variance. Then percentage study variation compares each source's standard deviation to the total standard deviation. This is what many companies use for accept or reject decisions. For example, here is the Automotive Industry Action Group acceptance criteria for percentage study variation. Smaller 10% means measurement system is acceptable. Between 10 and 30% means conditionally acceptable, depends on application, gauge cost and cost of rework repair, customer approval often required. And above 30%, unacceptable. The measurement system should be improved. So according to the acceptance criteria, our measurement system would be unacceptable. Our value is above 30. Finally, we have percentage tolerance. At the start, we entered a tolerance of 1.5. Remember, tolerance comes from engineering or functional requirements, not from the Gage R&R data. The tolerance is just the upper specification limit minus the lower specification limit. When you enter a tolerance, all the other columns stay exactly the same. Only the percentage tolerance column uses that value. If you leave tolerance blank, this last column simply won't appear. But including tolerance is helpful because it tells you how much of the specification window is being consumed by measurement variation. For example, you might see a high percentage in percentage study variation, but if your tolerance is large, the percentage tolerance can still be small, meaning the gauge error is small relative to your specification limits. If we set the tolerance to 4, the percentage tolerance drops because the gauge variation occupies a smaller fraction of the tolerance window. And here you can see visually how your Gage R&R is performing. In the first bar, you can see this value and we can see that it is red. Here we can see that value, which depends on the tolerance. And now one last important question. What are number of distinct categories, short NDC? Number of distinct categories tells you how many clearly different part levels your measurement system can distinguish. A simple way to think about it. NDC 1 to 2, the gauge can barely distinguish parts. NDC 3 to 4, okay for rough screening. NDC 5 or more, generally good, you can see real differences. NDC 10 or more, very good resolution. So NDC is just a quick score for how much detail your measurement system can see. Okay, now that we've checked the measurement system, it's time to ask, how capable is the process itself? You can learn all about process capability in my next video.